Welcome to our channel. In this video, we're revealing the top 5 most valuable Jefferson nickels. These rare coins have left collectors amazed and are worth far more than their face value. Let's uncover which Jefferson nickels are the most sought after and why they command such high prices. The story of the 1979 5-cent D coin begins long before it was struck, before metal met die, before Jefferson's profile was etched into its face. It begins in a country wrestling with inflation, struggling with global influence, and facing a future that seemed both uncertain and full of possibility. The 1970s in America were a strange mixture of idealism, economic hardship, and technological revolution. The Vietnam War had ended, the Watergate scandal had shaken public trust in government, and while disco danced in the background, people stood in line for gas, gripping every cent like it mattered. Because it did in that world, every nickel counted. It bought you time on a payphone, part of a cup of coffee, a candy bar, or a newspaper. The 5-cent coin wasn't glamorous, but it was essential. And the people at the Denver Mint knew that. Their job wasn't to make treasures. It was to make tools. But sometimes, even tools become treasures when the world changes around them. Inside the mint, machines roared in rhythm. Blank planchets were loaded, aligned, struck, and sent down conveyors in seconds. Each coin took on Jefferson's stern gaze and Monticello's iconic dome. Quality was expected, but perfection was rare. Most coins showed signs of haste, soft features, blurred steps, faint ridges. But in this mechanical storm, every now and then, one coin would emerge like a crystal-clear echo of what it was always meant to be. A 1979 D nickel. Minted perfectly. The details crisp, the steps under Monticello so defined they seemed carved by hand. Such a coin wasn't just an accident, it was a phenomenon, and yet, for years, it sat unnoticed. It's funny how value often hides in plain sight. For decades, these nickels jangled in pockets, disappeared in cash drawers, fell between car seats, and slept in dusty jars on forgotten shelves. People spent them without thought. Few realized that among these millions were rare pieces struck with such precision, such pristine lines, that they would one day command more than just attention, they would command awe. But that's the beautiful paradox of coin collecting. Value isn't always tied to what something is, it's tied to how rare it is to find it the way it was meant to be. And in a world of wear and tear, a perfect coin is a miracle. As collectors began to explore the Jefferson nickel series more deeply, they became increasingly obsessed with the concept of full steps. It sounds minor to the uninitiated. How much could some tiny horizontal lines on the back of a coin matter? Everything. As it turns out, the full steps designation refers to the visibility of all 5 steps leading up to Monticello's portico. These steps are the most fragile part of the design, the first to disappear under a weak strike, or wear from circulation. Only coins struck with extreme clarity and care preserve this detail, and then there's grade. Numismatics isn't just about design, it's about condition. Coins are graded from 1 to 70, with MS 70 being a flawless, uncirculated gem. Most circulated coins fall in the range of MS 60 or below. But find a coin with full steps at MS 66 or higher, and you're no longer dealing with pocket change. You're holding a miniature masterpiece. Now imagine this scenario: a 1979 D nickel, struck at the Denver Mint, perfectly preserved, full steps blazing across its reverse side, and a surface that shows not a single nick, scuff, or dull mark. A coin that somehow, against all odds, avoided the handling, the rubbing, the passage of time. Only a handful exist, and when one of those rare pieces appeared on the market, graded MS 67, full steps, the coin world took a collective breath. Word spread. The forums lit up. YouTubers and hobbyists rushed to their local banks to hunt for rolls, desperate to find a twin. Videos racked up millions of views. Could this be in your change jar? Do you have a $100,000 nickel in your house? Suddenly, this humble coin became a symbol, not just of scarcity, but of possibility. A reminder that sometimes, greatness hides in everyday things. Of course, not all 1979 D nickels are worth more than a few cents. Most aren't. But when condition, strike, and rarity intersect, when lightning strikes, you get a coin that doesn't just belong in a collection. It belongs in a museum, and yet, collectors chase it. They chase it with passion, with magnifying glasses, with gloves and trays and velvet-lined boxes. They chase it because they know that coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about legacy. It's about holding history in your palm. It's about the thrill of discovery, the whisper of a story that no one else noticed, and now, after all this time, that story has reached its climax, because one such coin, just one, has emerged as the finest known example of its kind. A 1979 D5-cent coin. Full steps. Graded MS-67. Verified. Certified. And sold, its final auction price, $122,000, not because it was gold. Not because it was rare in number. But because it was rare in quality, rare in condition, and cherished by those who understand that perfection, in any form, is worth its weight in wonder. Up next, we explore what truly makes a coin valuable, not just in the context of its time, but through the lens of collectors and enthusiasts who see beyond its face value. The 1983 D nickel was minted as part of a routine process, meant to circulate among the American populace, fulfilling its purpose as mere currency. But as with many coins throughout history, a few rare examples would defy that mundane fate and become highly coveted treasures. In its most basic form, the 1983 D nickel was no different from its counterparts in circulation. It carried the image of Thomas Jefferson on one side, as the Jefferson nickel had since 1938. On the reverse, Monticello stood as a symbol of Jefferson's legacy, a lasting tribute to the founding father and the nation he helped shape. For decades, this design had been a constant, a staple in the world of American coinage. But as we know, sometimes greatness doesn't emerge from grand designs, it emerges through rarity and preservation. The coins produced at the Denver Mint in 1983 were destined for everyday life. They were to be used for small transactions, passed from hand to hand, tossed into cash registers, dropped into fountains, and likely forgotten in between. Most of the coins minted that year, like those before them, would face a life of wear and tear. Scratches, dents, discoloration, the harsh realities of circulation. These coins were never meant to remain pristine. Yet among the millions that were stamped and released into the world, a select few managed to survive the tumult of everyday life without suffering the fate of most coins. For collectors, it's not enough that a coin is rare. It must be in exceptional condition. Coins that survive unscathed by the wear and tear of circulation are highly prized because they are rare specimens of perfect craftsmanship. The 1983 D nickel, for instance, would be almost indistinguishable from any other coin unless one paid close attention to the finer details, details that would later be the key to its incredible value. Mint state, MS, grading is a crucial part of this world, and it is how collectors measure the quality of a coin. A coin's grade can vary, but an MS-68 grade is among the highest. When a coin is given this grade, it means it has nearly perfect characteristics, with very few or no flaws visible under magnification. In the case of the 1983 D nickel, this particular example stood out for more than just its flawless appearance. It was graded MS-68 with full steps, an extremely rare condition where the steps on the reverse of the coin, beneath Monticello, are fully visible and sharp. This full steps feature is highly coveted among collectors, as it signifies the precision with which the coin was struck. The discovery of this exceptional coin sent ripples through the numismatic community. A coin that had been circulating in the world for over 3 decades, unnoticed by most, was now a jewel in the crown of coin collecting. The 1983 D nickel wasn't just a coin, it was a rare artifact, a symbol of the incredible potential hidden in everyday objects. As word of the coin's quality spread, the excitement surrounding it grew. What began as whispers in collector circles soon turned into full-fledged interest. Dealers and collectors alike took notice, and as the coin made its way to auction, the anticipation reached a fever pitch. It was no longer just a coin, it had become an event. People who had spent years hunting for the elusive perfect Jefferson nickel saw this as a golden opportunity, perhaps the only chance to own a coin of this caliber. The bidding at the auction was intense. At first, the estimates for the coin's value were conservative. Experts speculated that it could fetch a respectable price, perhaps tens of thousands of dollars, but no one could have predicted just how high the stakes would rise. What was initially thought to be a curious discovery turned into a defining moment for the world of numismatics. The excitement was palpable. Everyone knew this coin had something special about it, but what it was truly worth was yet to be determined. As the auction unfolded, collectors' hearts raced. The bids escalated quickly, each new offer pushing the price higher. What started as a modest auction item had now become a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a coin that had defied all expectations. The room was electric with tension, the value of the coin climbing faster than anyone could have anticipated. It wasn't just a matter of money anymore. It was about the thrill of acquisition, the prestige of owning something so rare, so perfect. The final hammer came down with a resounding thud. The 1983 D nickel had sold for a price that would change the way collectors viewed coins of this era. The final sale price, $$116,000 was an extraordinary sum for a coin that had once been just another piece of currency. For those who had witnessed the auction or heard about it later, it was a surreal moment. A coin that had once been forgotten in the hands of countless individuals was now a priceless treasure, but what made this coin so valuable? It wasn't just its age or the fact that it had survived the rigors of circulation. It was its perfect condition, its rarity, and the unique combination of factors that made it stand out from the millions of other nickels produced that year. The MS-68 grade, the full steps feature, the flawless surface, all of these elements converged to create a coin that was not just rare, but remarkable. For the collector who took home the 1983 D nickel that day, the price tag was only part of the story. The real value lay in the journey it had taken, from its humble beginnings in the Denver Mint, to its eventual discovery in a roll of nickels, to its auction sale for over $100,000. It was a symbol of the unexpected rewards that come with patience, persistence, and a keen eye. It reminded collectors and enthusiasts alike that sometimes, the most extraordinary things can be found in the most ordinary places. In 2000, the United States was entering a new millennium, a time of rapid change, technological advances, and cultural shifts. Yet, in the midst of these vast transitions, a single, small coin, the 2000 USA 5-cent D coin, would go unnoticed by most, destined to play a major role in numismatics. While millions of these nickels were struck that year, few would ever realize that some of them held the potential to become highly valuable treasures. The 2000 D nickel, which bears the D mint mark of the Denver Mint, might seem like just another coin. With its familiar design, a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the front, and the iconic Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, on the back, it's easy to dismiss it as one of the many standard coins in American circulation. But what if this small piece of currency was more than just a 5-cent coin? The history behind this coin is rooted in the continued evolution of American coinage. The Jefferson nickel, first minted in 1938, has undergone several design changes over the years, yet it's remained a symbol of American heritage. The 2000 D nickel was no different in its basic features. However, certain issues with the minting process would lead to something much more intriguing than a simple nickel. The minting process itself is a carefully controlled series of steps, ensuring that the coins produced are consistent in design, weight, and quality. Yet, sometimes, subtle imperfections emerge, tiny flaws that, to the naked eye, might seem insignificant. These flaws can turn a regular coin into a rare find. For the 2000 D nickel, this was especially true. In the world of coin collecting, minting errors are highly coveted. Sometimes, these errors are the result of misaligned dies, weak strikes, or other manufacturing issues. The most famous of these are the off-center strikes, where the design is imprinted at an angle, leaving part of the coin blank or missing key details. Although errors like these might be dismissed by many, serious collectors know that these irregularities can make certain coins incredibly rare and valuable. The 2000 D nickel became the subject of increased interest when it was discovered that some of these coins had not been struck with the usual precision. Coins featuring off-center strikes or weak strikes, where the image of Jefferson and Monticello appeared less defined than usual, started to attract the attention of eagle-eyed collectors. To understand the significance of such errors, let's take a closer look at how the minting process works. Coins are struck by powerful machines, which force a blank metal planchet between two dies, the front die and the reverse die. The dies are responsible for imprinting the designs on the coin's surface. When these dies are misaligned, or when the striking pressure is uneven, the resulting coin can be slightly off-center or have a blurred design. These issues, while rare, create coins that stand out from the rest of the series. Over the years, the 2000 D nickel became synonymous with these kinds of errors. Coins struck with weak details or off-center images were a rarity, and this sparked interest from serious collectors. A weak strike could lead to Jefferson's image being indistinct, or Monticello on the reverse might appear with less detail than it should. In the world of numismatics, even these subtle differences were enough to make collectors take notice. As collectors began to search for these rare coins, the demand grew, and dealers began to recognize the potential value of these nickels. A coin that might otherwise have been dismissed as a mere 5-cent piece was now being closely examined by experts, who saw its potential. The discovery of these unique coins created a buzz in the numismatic community, leading to a surge in interest and prices. One of the most significant aspects of this coin's appeal is its rarity. While many 2000D nickels were produced, only a select few exhibited the kind of minting flaws that make a coin truly valuable. In the eyes of collectors, the more imperfect a coin is, the more fascinating and valuable it becomes. The off-center strikes and weakly struck coins were the holy grail for those searching for something special within the world of coinage. Coin grading, which determines a coin's condition, also plays a pivotal role in its value. Professional coin grading services evaluate coins based on their appearance and degree of preservation. A coin with a high grade, one that is nearly flawless, can command significantly higher prices than one that has been poorly preserved. For the 2000D nickel, the grade of the coin, combined with its minting error, became an essential factor in determining its final worth. This is where things started to get interesting. As the 2000D nickel with its unique characteristics began to surface in the marketplace, collectors were eager to get their hands on one of these rare finds. The off-center strikes and weak strikes of the coin made them more valuable than regular 2000D nickels. But the real question was, how much would someone be willing to pay for such a rarity? The answer came in the form of a significant auction sale. In 2012, one of these elusive 2000D nickels, with a pronounced off-center strike, was sold for an amount that no one could have predicted. This particular coin, with its unique features and excellent condition, commanded the attention of collectors from all over the world. The final bid shocked everyone in attendance. The coin, which had once been worth only 5 cents, fetched a staggering price. The auction closed, and the hammer fell with a price that stunned both collectors and numismatists alike. That price was $36,000. But how did a 5-cent coin, from a single year of production, reach such a remarkable value? It was a combination of factors: the minting errors, the off-center strikes, and the weak strikes, along with the coin's exceptional condition. These rare features made the 2000D nickel a highly desirable collectible, one that became the focal point of bidding wars and dealer negotiations. Up next, we dive into a fascinating story about a seemingly ordinary coin that has captured the attention of collectors and numismatists alike. We're talking about the 2008 USA 5-cent P coin. At first glance, it's just another nickel in circulation, but as we dig deeper into its history, design, and unique features, you'll see how this small piece of currency can be worth a surprising amount, an amount that, for many collectors, is worth the search. Let's start by setting the stage in 2008. The world was facing some major economic challenges as the Great Recession loomed, but at the same time, the United States Mint was busy producing a series of coins that would go down in history. That year, a special nickel was minted as part of the ongoing Westward Journey nickel series, which had started in 2004. These coins, commemorating the Lewis and Clark expedition and the expansion of the United States, were more than just currency. They were symbols of exploration, adventure, and progress. The 2008 coin was the final chapter in the Westward Journey series, a 2-coin release featuring designs that celebrated America's early history and expansion. The first of these coins in 2008 was the keelboat design, which showed a keelboat, a type of vessel used by the Lewis and Clark expedition. This symbol of exploration was paired with the words, Louisiana Purchase 1803, to commemorate the historic purchase of land that greatly expanded the U.S. territory. The second coin, titled Ocean in View, depicted the Pacific Ocean, the ultimate destination of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Both designs were meant to evoke the spirit of the early American pioneers who pushed westward in the early 19th century. So, what makes the 2008 USA 5-cent P coin stand out? While the design and symbolism of the coin are already noteworthy, it's the unique features of certain coins within the 2008 P series that make them highly desirable among collectors. Specifically, we're talking about errors, those subtle mistakes made during the minting process that turn a regular coin into something extraordinary. At the Philadelphia Mint, where the 2008 P nickels were produced, the process of minting involved striking a blank metal planchet with high pressure to imprint the coin's design. Normally, this produces perfectly defined coins. However, occasionally, a slight imperfection in the process creates what are called minting errors. These mistakes could include misaligned dies, weak strikes, or even off-center impressions. While most of the coins struck during the year were perfectly fine, a select few had these rare errors, making them highly sought after by collectors who specialize in finding coins that are out of the ordinary. In the world of numismatics, error coins are highly prized. A coin that is off-center or has a faded design can be worth much more than its face value. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins with these characteristics, knowing that their rarity makes them incredibly valuable. For the 2008 P nickels, there were a few coins with particularly unique errors that made them stand out from the rest. These were not your average nickels, they were rare finds that could be worth much more than 5 cents. The appeal of these rare coins lies in their uniqueness. While most 2008 P nickels are indistinguishable from any other regular nickel in circulation, those with errors become special treasures. A coin that shows a weak strike, where the details of Thomas Jefferson's portrait are faint, or one with an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing or misaligned, becomes much more valuable because of how rare they are. As the years passed, the demand for these rare 2008 P nickels began to increase. Collectors who specialized in error coins knew that they had to act quickly when these coins appeared in the market. It wasn't long before auction houses started listing these rare specimens, and prices began to rise. What was once a mere 5-cent piece was now being sold for hundreds, even thousands, of dollars at auction. The most striking example of the 2008 P nickel's value came when one particularly rare coin, featuring an off-center strike, sold for a remarkable amount. It wasn't just any off-center strike, it was an example of a coin where the error was dramatic enough to make the design almost unrecognizable in parts, with Jefferson's portrait missing some key details. This kind of error is highly sought after, as it showcases just how much the minting process can go awry, and how a mistake can turn a simple coin into a valuable piece of history. The auction for this specific coin turned out to be a major event. What many had assumed would be a typical sale for an error coin turned into something much more exciting. Bidders from around the world competed to own this one-of-a-kind nickel. The final price was far beyond anyone's expectations. The coin that had originally been worth just 5 cents was now worth $20,000. How did a simple nickel end up being worth such a significant amount? It all comes down to rarity and demand. There aren't many 2008 P nickels with errors, and those that do exist are in high demand from collectors. This particular coin, with its off-center strike and unique characteristics, was simply too rare to ignore. For collectors, it was the ultimate find, a coin that not only had a rich historical background but also carried an intrinsic value due to its rarity and uniqueness. It's important to remember that the majority of 2008 P nickels don't fetch anything near that price. Most of them are just like any other nickel in circulation, and they hold only their face value of 5 cents. But for those who are patient and knowledgeable enough to spot an error, the rewards can be tremendous. The numismatic world is full of hidden treasures, and even the most ordinary coins can become extraordinary with the right combination of factors: minting errors, rarity, and collector interest. So, if you ever come across a 2008 P nickel, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Take a closer look. It could be more valuable than you think. Up next, we're going to take a deep dive into a coin that might seem like just another everyday nickel at first glance, but as we explore its fascinating history, unique design, and the collector interest that has propelled its value, you'll see how the 2015 USA 5-cent P coin has become much more than just a piece of currency. This seemingly unassuming coin has managed to grab the attention of collectors and enthusiasts across the globe, and we'll show you why it's considered such a valuable piece today. It's 2015, and the world is still adjusting to the rapid changes of the 21st century. The global economy is still recovering from the financial crisis of the late 2000s, and the American Mint is moving forward with an ambitious plan to keep the nation's currency fresh and modern. The 2015 5-cent P coin, or simply the 2015 Philadelphia Mint 5-cent coin, was a significant part of that journey. But while it was produced alongside other standard coins for circulation, the 2015 nickel soon became an unexpected star in the world of numismatics. The design of the 5-cent coin, or nickel, has remained remarkably consistent over the years. For more than 70 years, the obverse of the nickel featured the likeness of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and his home, Monticello, was depicted on the reverse. But in 2004, the U.S. Mint started issuing new designs as part of a series to commemorate the westward expansion, a move that began with the Lewis and Clark bicentennial celebrations. By the time 2015 rolled around, the design of the nickel remained the same, but it was still part of the larger efforts to refresh the country's currency and keep the coinage relevant to the changing times. The 2015 nickel, like its predecessors, was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which has been producing coins since the late 18th century. The coins produced there are known for their high quality, and while most of them are used in everyday transactions, some rare varieties, often with subtle errors, would catch the eye of serious collectors. The year 2015 was not a particularly eventful one for major commemorative issues or design changes in the nickel series, but it still offered something of interest to numismatists. With the coin still featuring Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the reverse, the design stayed true to tradition, and the 2015 nickel continued the legacy of the long-running Jefferson series. But despite the familiar design, the 2015 coin would go on to become a collector's item for reasons far beyond the surface point. One of the key elements that would make the 2015 USA 5-cent P coin special was the sheer rarity of certain versions of this coin. The vast majority of 2015 nickels that were minted are, of course, worth their face value. But in the world of coin collecting, it's those subtle variations or flaws that often capture the most attention. These variations can be anything from slight misalignments to imperfect strikes, all the way to rare minting errors that make certain coins incredibly rare. Even coins that appear perfectly fine to the untrained eye could hold hidden value if they are found to have these unusual characteristics. In fact, some 2015 P nickels are now sought after because of minor minting flaws that set them apart from others. One of the more notable issues that arose with the 2015 coin was related to die cracks. A die crack happens when the metal die used to strike the coins begins to wear down or crack, and as a result, it leaves an imprint on the coin. These imperfections can be very subtle but can make the coin more desirable because they are rare and add to the unique nature of the coin. Other forms of errors, like off-center strikes and doubled dies, were also seen in the 2015 series. These kinds of defects are prized by collectors because they make the coin stand out from the rest of its mintage. Now, you might be wondering, how did a coin that was struck for ordinary circulation go from being just another nickel to becoming a sought-after collectible? The answer lies in the rarity of these mint errors. The coins that had even the most minor imperfections became highly coveted by collectors who are always on the lookout for something that's out of the ordinary. As the years went by, people started to realize that certain 2015 nickels, especially those with visible errors, could be worth far more than their face value. The price of a rare 2015 P nickel gradually began to rise, as collectors understood how hard it was to find one of these unique coins. As with any rare collectible, when something becomes harder to find, its value naturally increases. What may have started as a small, almost unnoticed flaw was now drawing attention from all corners of the numismatic world. Investors and collectors alike were eager to get their hands on these special pieces, and the value continued to grow. Eventually, these rare versions of the 2015 P coin began to show up in auction houses, with bidding wars driving prices up higher than expected. The market for error coins had already been established by previous examples, but the 2015 P nickel was entering the spotlight in a big way. People started to notice that a seemingly insignificant coin could carry a surprising amount of value if it possessed the right characteristics. And, as time went on, the price of these error coins reached new heights. At one point, a particular 2015 P nickel that featured an off-center strike and a die crack sold for a staggering amount. This was a jaw-dropping sum for a coin that was originally worth just 5 cents. But this sale was not an isolated incident. As more of these rare error coins entered the market, their prices only continued to climb. For many collectors, this was a reminder of how powerful the allure of rare coins can be. It's not just about the coin's historical significance or its design. Sometimes, it's the imperfections, the flaws, and the mistakes that make a coin truly valuable. This coin is now considered one of the most valuable among its kind, and its price has made it a prized collectible in the market. The 2015 USA 5-cent P coin, in the right condition and with the right errors, has certainly earned its place among the most sought-after coins in numismatics today.